What's up, everybody? Welcome to Make This Go Viral Crime Podcast. How's everybody doing today? So today we're going to be talking about two cases from 2022. And the first case I want to talk about is Ella Goodie. And then we will get to Allahnia Lenoir, which we have more information about Allahnia's case. Please smack that thumbs up. Drop down in the comments and let me know that you're here. If you're here on a replay, please be sure to subscribe to the channel if you have not. Hit that thumbs up and share it out. Okay, so the two cases that I will be talking about today, Ella Goodie, the guy accused of unaliving her, which she's suspected to be unalive. His name is Brandon Francisco. Brandon Francisco is not a person that you would want to give a ride share with. So Ella Goodie went missing May 9th of 2022. So she went from Louisiana to Texas, giving this Brandon Francisco a ride. Little did she know, this guy was, the day that she gave him a ride, he was actually supposed to be in court that day for the attempted unaliving of a guy, right? Of one man. And this is crazy because in the beginning, when all of this stuff was going on, I didn't know all of this stuff. Shout out to everybody in the building. Please smack that thumbs up. Please drop down in the comments and let me know that you're here. I greatly appreciate that. But most of all, smack that thumbs up to let YouTube know that we are live. Shout out to everybody in the building. So yeah, I'm going to play a video that was dropped earlier on in the case, right? And then I'm going to get to this newer information that I didn't know in the beginning. And I also have some screenshots and just, we got a lot of things going on with the two cases that we'll be talking about. So I got quite a bit of information. The next person that I will be talking about is Allahnia Lenoir. Allahnia also went missing in 2022. She went missing July 31st of 2022. Ella Goodie went missing May 9th or March 9th of 2022. So these were two cases that I talked about when it happened. I have playlists for both of them. And the way that this channel works is that if I start a case and it doesn't get solved, I don't care if it's 2, 3, 4 years later, I'm going to come back and update you on that case. I'm constantly checking to see if there's any updates on the case. And so Allahnia, the person responsible, the third person who was responsible for her disappearance has now been caught. So I got some videos there. I got some old statements that were made, and we just going to go over this stuff. Shout out to Anthony Holmes in the building. Shout out to my BFF in the building. And shout out to Young Riaz. Thank y'all so much for coming in. And if you will please share it out for me, I will be forever grateful. So let me play a couple videos so I can make it make sense for y'all. Okay, and I hope y'all having a good day today. I know y'all probably at work just listening in, and I greatly appreciate that. So the first video I'm gonna play is actually about, this is about Ella Goodie. So I have about 2 or 3 videos about Ella Goodie. So here we go.
Major developments today in the Ella Goodie case. She's the Scott woman who's been missing since early March.
The case is now being investigated as a homicide. Megan Glover joins us live in studio with what we know so far. Megan?
It's been almost 2 months since Ella Goodie of Scott was last seen or heard from. Now, Louisiana State Police have said that the case is transitioning from a missing persons case to a homicide investigation. Last month, state police searched a rural area off I-10 in Jeff Davis Parish for evidence in her disappearance. State troopers say they were searching the area because they believed it was the last known coordinates from a cell phone that led them to the area. Derek Senegal of Troop D says that the case change is based on investigative techniques and witness statements.
We just can't put out and mention all type whatever evidence that they do have pertaining to this actual case. I mean, they want to do their due diligence to wherever the case may be to make sure that they close the case or try to figure out where she is. So we have to do our due diligence and figure out all of this stuff, because it wouldn't be fair to her and it wouldn't be fair to her family just not to give our full attention to this case.
Who is leading the case will continue to work with Scott Police, St. Joseph Police in Missouri, and other agencies involved. Anyone with information is encouraged to call 318-484-2194.
Now, that was an old report from 2022. And what I remember from this case is that Ella Goodie had given this guy rides before. She used to work for Lyft, and for whatever reason, her Lyft was suspended. She wasn't no longer attached to Lyft, which is a safety issue. It is a huge safety issue to drive around complete strangers and have nobody else tracking you. And it sounds like the only people that really knew what she was doing was her children, 13 and 14 years old. I remember it being said that she had taken them to school, told them she would be back in time to pick them up, if I remember correctly. And she has never been seen again, y'all. And unfortunately, this Brandon Francisco guy, he was supposed to be in court the day that he got a ride from her for an attempted unaliving that actually happened in December of 2018. And what I didn't know right before I came on, is that this same trial ended up being a mistrial because they allowed in evidence for another case that he almost unalived a female by jabbing her over 20 times. And because they brought in some evidence or something pertaining to that, it was a mistrial for this one. And so poor Ella Goodie did not know who she had in her car at all. So this guy, I don't know what other rides she had given him, the distances, if it was local or not. But if I had to guess, I would say that he gained her trust, asked her to drive him to from Louisiana to Texas. What she didn't know, this man was on the run. He was on the run. He was fleeing from some court proceedings he was supposed to be at. And the sad part is, y'all, that Ella Goodie was never to be seen again. It's been 2 years. Her family don't know anything more than they knew the day that they arrested Brandon Francisco. The thing is, they have gone through a whole trial of the person that he tried to unalive, and we're going to get into that case. We're going to get into it a little bit. But he's already been sentenced to prison, y'all. 30 years for attempting to unalive a person. And he ain't even get charged for her. Her family is devastated about that. He obviously ain't talking because he's trying to act like he didn't know nothing. Now, it's sad because it goes across states. I mean, she could be anywhere. But the video I played, they said that they went to the last location that her phone pinged. But I mean, that don't mean much. Her phone could have been powered off, or I mean, it just don't mean a whole lot. But I also remember in the beginning, there was a video of somebody that looked like it could have been Ella in the back seat of a car. And I'm sure it's in the playlist. So if you get time, check out my Ella Goodie playlist, as well as the playlist of Allahnia Lenoir. But we do have more information with that. So this happened in so Louisiana is where she's from. She drove him to Texas, and then he ended up picked up somewhere else. So that's what I'm saying. It's like it's across states. She could literally be anywhere. Shout out to Mouthpiece in the building. Welcome in. Thank you so much for tuning in. So let's talk about, let me play another video first. And then I'm going to read the information that I'm really just now finding out as far as the mistrial and all of this stuff. I had no idea. But he is not a good guy. Also, I ran across a lady on Facebook that actually was a friend of the woman that he tried to unalive prior to trying to unalive the guy that he just got 30 years for and not even charged for Ella Goodie. But I got her messages that she had posted too. So here we go.
Major development in the case of a missing Scott woman who disappeared while driving a rideshare client from Louisiana to Texas. Trooper First Class Derek Senegal, the public information officer for Louisiana State Police Troop D, has confirmed to News Channel 5 that the case involving 32-year-old Ella Goodie was handed over to the Calcasieu Parish District Attorney's Office on March 17th for grand jury consideration. Goodie was last seen over a year ago on March 9th, 2022. The case was being investigated as a homicide by Louisiana State Police, and to date, her body has not been found. The person investigators believe to be the last person to see Goodie, the one she was transporting to Texas, is 37-year-old Brandon Francisco of Mansura. Francisco was arrested in St. Joseph, Missouri last year on March 25th, and Goodie's vehicle was found in St. Joseph, Missouri on April 1st. Francisco was out on bond at the time for a Rapides Parish case in which he was charged with attempted second-degree murder, among other charges. When he didn't show up to court ahead of his trial and was found in Missouri, the Rapides Parish District Attorney's Office added a new charge, out-of-state bail jumping. Last October, Francisco pleaded guilty as charged to attempted second-degree murder and was sentenced to 30 years in prison without the benefit of probation, parole, or suspension of sentence. All other Rapides Parish charges were dismissed. And as for why the case is in the hands of the Calcasieu DA, that's because GPS cell phone records track her last known movements to Iowa, and a search was conducted in that area last April. Now, it's important to note that state police told us that Francisco is still considered a person of interest in the Goodie case. We reached out to his Alexandria-based defense attorney, Tiffany Sanders, and she told us that she wasn't aware that the Goodie case had been handed over to the Calcasieu DA. She sent us this statement. Today, my office received information as to my client being named as a person of interest in an ongoing matter. Through unknown means, it was discovered that the investigation is still in its infancy, although over a year has elapsed. I do not want to try this case in the media and intend to adhere to the Louisiana rules of professional conduct to provide guidance on pre-trial publicity. My client has not been charged with any crimes regarding this matter and vehemently maintains his innocence. And there's no timeline for when the case could reach a grand jury.
And that's the sad part, because he maintains his innocence, which to me means that he has no plans on admitting anything or telling where the body is, because he's too busy saying that he didn't do it. Like, what? This dude, man, is so sad, because if there was never a mistrial, he would have never been out to even meet her and all of this stuff. But I'm going to go into that. Can y'all hear me okay? Let me know if y'all can hear me okay. Okay, I don't want to cut my music all the way off, but I do want to make sure that y'all can hear me. So I'm looking. Let me see what y'all saying. Do y'all remember this case from 2022? Shout out to Blue Lotus in the building. Thank you so much for being in. How you doing, Blue? Damn, it's always the fine sisters. Why? Man, it is so sad. I mean, for her to just disappear like that, never to be found or seen at all. And literally, I had not heard anything about this case. So what made me look it up is because I was looking. See, I saved cases in my phone that hasn't been solved yet. So I'll have like screenshots and thumbnails and different things in my phone to make me remember. And so Ella Goodie went missing months before Allahnia did. And so Allahnia's case is not solved because her body is still not found. But at least they got the third and final suspect that was responsible for that. And when I was looking for information concerning Allahnia, I ran across Ella Goodie, and I'm like, let me report on her too, because it was also Alexis Morales that went missing around that time. She was a mother who had I think the baby was like 3 to 5 months old, found in a car with her deceased body. Like it, and they still don't have anybody for that. We also have the other girl, Alexis, that went missing, never to be found again, missing under strange circumstances. And I had talked about all of them in 2022. Alexis Ware was her name. And it was 2 men surrounding that case, 2 baby daddies, and then she went missing. It was talks about shadow work and all of this kind of stuff, but she just vanished. Nobody, and her case was really big. A lot of people was covering that case and nothing. So it was her, it was all of them in 2022. Alexis was in January, and I don't think I put Alexis Ware's picture in here, but I'm gonna look into that too to see if we can get any more information. But you know, a couple, at least one person that report on YouTube, he drugged the family pretty bad, and it's like after he stopped talking about it, I think people kind of let him lead that. I'm not sure, but it was a mess. It was an absolute mess how that case ended up. Yes, Alexis Ware. Yes, and so dang, I mean, haven't heard nothing else about her. It's too many sisters vanishing, and the news don't be saying nothing. They sure don't. And then I was like, you know, her family, I hadn't seen much from them either, but they did speak, and I'm sure that they were doing things. I just didn't know who the family was that was speaking out for her, because in the beginning it was just a video of her mother, looked like her mother, brother, and some kind of older people there, and I didn't see anybody young that was really hammering the case in and all of that. I didn't see that. Not like I said, not to say that they wasn't doing anything, because they were. And matter of fact, let me play one more video of them, and then we'll go back to what I want to read about him, just to show that she did have family that loved her.
We just want answers. We just want some type of answers. Like if that was somebody else's loved one.
Years since anyone has seen or heard from Ella Goodie. The Scott woman's disappearance is being investigated as a homicide. Good afternoon, I'm Cynthia Arsenault. Goodie went missing after she reportedly gave Brandon Francisco a ride from Louisiana to Texas. KPLC's Andrea Robinson spoke with her family, who is still fighting for justice.
I just wanted to come home, man.
Ella Goodie is Artre's only sister.
If you knew Ella, that was enough, bro. Like, she was gonna give you a shirt off her back, man. She'll help you if she ain't had it.
She was 33 years old when she was last heard from on March 9th, 2022. She was driving to Texas and back along I-10, giving a ride to Brandon Jermaine Francisco. Her car was spotted the next day north of Dallas.
Anybody who does something or did something to her, you are heartless. You're heartless.
On March 16th, 2022, Scott police asked for the public's assistance, and Francisco was named a person of interest. A week later, Francisco was arrested in St. Joseph, Missouri, on unrelated charges out of Rapides Parish, on which he pleaded guilty to attempted second-degree murder. April 1st, Goodie's car was found in St. Joseph, Missouri. Law enforcement searched an area of the interstate near the Calcasieu-Jeff Davis Parish line, the last known location of her cell phone. Goodie's family says they've been on foot looking, too.
We went on searches by ourselves, just like 4 of us. Like Texas, everywhere, like Lake Charles. Searching everything. Searching just us girls.
By May, state police announced Goodie's case was being investigated as a homicide. Nearly a year after she disappeared, her case was handed over to the Calcasieu Parish District Attorney.
She has 2 kids that's missing their mother. Their mother. I don't understand how somebody could be so cruel or so evil to take someone and do something to them. And now they're missing for 2 years.
With each day that passes, her family fights for answers.
If anybody knows something, I beg them to just please let us know. Please.
I don't care what post you see. Keep sharing. I don't care what state you're in. Because a lot of people don't know about the case. A lot of people don't even know who's Ella. But if you see it, please keep sharing. Please. Ella Goodie. We love you. Okay, we miss you so much.
Justice for Ella Goodie, man. 2 years. This is so sad. I remember when it was like, there was a guy on Facebook that people was on this bumper, and he was a friend of Brandon Francisco, and they were saying that he was the one that he had something to do with it too. He was in the back seat and all of this stuff, but I don't know whatever came of that. But I'm gonna read what the news put out. This is what we know. Now, this article was actually published in September of 2022, and they're talking about the previous case. Now, remember, this guy is he's a bad actor, right? He's been into a lot of stuff. I'm sure he did a lot of stuff he didn't get caught for. But the two things that I'm talking about is the 2 attempted unalivings he had prior to meeting Ella Goodie, who's now missing since 2022. So I'm gonna get into that. The mistrial, there was a mistrial on this case that he just got 30 years for prior to this. So we talking a little bit about the mistrial. A mistrial has been declared, and it was after a joint motion filed by the parish district's attorney's office and defense. So Francisco, 36, of Mansoura, is charged with attempted second-degree unaliving for a December 24th, 2018 shooting near Shanaville, which court documents state involved an alleged outstanding drug debt. So he went after a guy who owed him allegedly some drug money. That's what they said. The court's documents stated that state involved an alleged outstanding drug debt. Before jury selection began last week for Francisco's trial, remember this was 2 years ago, Beard granted a state motion to allow the evidence of a prior conviction of Francisco for attempted second-degree murder. In that case, Francisco pleaded guilty to stabbing his ex-girlfriend upwards of 20 plus times. And that happened in Avoles Parish in 2007. Wow. So we got 2007, we got 2018, and we have 2022 that he attempted. Well, the last one, he ain't convicted, but he was the last person with her. So we already know what that means. But they was only concerned about getting him for what he was already wrapped in court for and what he was pleading for. And so Francisco's defense attorney, Tiffany Sanders, filed a writ with the Third Circuit Court Appeals to review Judge Beard's decision because she believed the cases were too different. One was a domestic one, and another involved drugs. The third district sided with Sanders. Assistant District Attorney Johnny, whoever, their names don't even matter, of the Louisiana Supreme Court, after the Third Circuit decision was announced, asking the higher court to review the compelling court decisions. The Louisiana Supreme Court agreed to review the case, but issued a stay, which put the brakes on the trial just 2 hours into the trial selection. So roughly a week later, the Louisiana Supreme Court announced this decision. So in a vote, 4-3 vote, the court denied the writ filed by the Rapids Parish District's Attorney's Office and sided with Francisco's defense. We are told a reason was not given. Wow. So because of the trial disruption, the attorney needed to meet with Judge Beard to determine how to move forward. So on Thursday, September 1st of 2022, Judge Beard signed off on a motion for a mistrial in the case. So while a reason was not officially listed in the motion, the disruption put the trial off track for a week. So creating a scheduling problem for jurors who had already received notices and witnesses who were subpoenaed from out of town. There is no word yet on when a new date will be set. Meanwhile, Francisco remains behind bars. How did he get out? I'm trying to understand, how did he end up out after this? Oh, well, this is stuff they talking about. Wait, September. So she was already missing when they talking about this stuff. What? I'm confused now. So there is no word yet on when a new date will be set for his trial. Francisco has also been named a person of interest in the disappearance of Ella Goodie. Okay. So they did a mistrial, but they still, wait a minute. Hold on, y'all. I'm clicking into something else. So at the time, Brandon was 33, according to this report that I'm looking at now. And he was arrested with another guy. The other guy's name was Travell Marks Lewis, and he was 30 years old. So let's see. It says arrest made in the Shaneyville Christmas Eve shooting. Wow. So this article was actually published on December 31st of 2018. Let me go back. Okay. So the article I just read was in 2022. Now the article that I'm looking at now was actually the arrest of them in 2018. So let's read this. RPSO has made 2 arrests in the investigation of the Christmas Eve shooting near Shaneyville that left the victim in critical condition at a local hospital. Now, remember, this is the guy that allegedly owed a drug debt that happened in 2018, way before he even met Ella Goodie. I'm still trying to understand why he was out. So after this, if he got arrested, why did they let him out? In my mind, it was a mistrial, the reason why he was out. That mistrials, but I don't know if this will lead. No, this ain't gonna lead to that. But anyway, let's just read it. Brandon Jermaine Francisco, 33, and Travell Marks Lewis, 30, both of Mansoura, have been arrested for armed robbery, unauthorized use of a motor vehicle, obstruction of justice, criminal conspiracy, and attempted first-degree unaliving. So Francisco was arrested on Friday and Lewis was arrested on Saturday. Both suspects were taken into custody without incident and remain in jail at this time. Bond for Lewis set for $810,000, but no bond was set for Francisco. So sheriff's detectives worked since Christmas Eve, conducting interviews and processing evidence from 2 crime scenes. Detectives said their investigation is still ongoing and would like to extend their thanks to the Bunkie Police Department and the Mansoura Police Department for their assistance. Alrighty, so anyway, at some point, this guy got out and was able to do this to Goodie because of a mistrial of a lady that he tried to unalive that he was dating back in the day, back in 2007. And so that lady, I'm actually subscribed to or following one of her friends on Facebook, that when this happened to Ella Goodie, she spoke out about her friend. And she even had some news clippings, and she was like, let me go to it. And I had put it in here, but I deleted it, but I should have kept it because she's actually a public figure. Her name is Selena Charles. And the reason why I actually know about Selena Charles is because I was working on a case with her nephew, or either her cousin. His name was, he was a 15-year-old who was found unalived, like in a place near his friend's house or something, in some water. And they tried to say it was some shady circumstances of his unaliving. And yeah, but that's how I know of Selena Charles, because she actually was the family spokesperson. But so in March 17th, she actually posted this on her YouTube. I mean, not YouTube, her Facebook page. And she said, my blood is boiling. I'm outraged and nervous because Brandon, the maniac that is responsible for Ella Goodie's whereabouts in 2007, he jabbed a friend of mine 23 times and left her for dead. Now this young lady is missing. I need y'all to share. Brandon is a threat to women and dangerous. So she actually posted a clipping of an article. This woman that he did this to, she wasn't even a woman. She was only 17 years old. She was jabbed by her boyfriend. So the article said a teenage mother has been left seriously injured after she was attacked in her apartment on Tunica Drive in Markville recently. Tatiana Jacobs, an African-American female, 17, was residing in Tunica Estates apartments when the incident occurred on August 4th. According to Marksville Police Chief Newman Greenhouse, Jacobs' boyfriend Brandon Francisco allegedly broke into the home in the early morning hours on Saturday, August 4th, while Jacobs and her 2.5-year-old daughter, wow, she had a kid at like 14, 2.5-year-old daughter, and I'm reading like this because it's kind of cut off. Hold on, y'all. Some of it is a little bit cut off, but anyway, she had a 2.5-year daughter at that time, and they were both asleep when Francisco entered the bedroom and allegedly began jabbing Jacobs. The call came in at 4:59 a.m. and they arrived at 5:02. Wow, that's amazing. They got there super quick. And the couple had broken up or separated prior to the incident. Greenhouse explained Jacobs was asleep during the attack. The victim was covered with comforters over her head, and during the attack, he said Jacobs was taken to the hospital before returning home to recover. Dang. Wow, that's amazing that she's still alive. She marked off some stuff on here though. I wonder why. But anyway, it says Francisco, an African-American male, he was 21 at the time, shouldn't have been dating a 17-year-old, by the way. And they should have got him for that. Even though she had a kid, he was still 21. But I know, like, here, 16, you considered, you consider an adult. Basically, you can consent, age of consent. Francisco, African-American male, 21, was arrested. Marksville police and blank with one, I can't read everything, with one count of attempted, I'm assuming unaliving, and let me see something. Let's see. Okay, yeah, I can't read it. I was trying to read what was blacked out, but it looked like it still has something to do with this case because I'm seeing jabbing and 17, and so I don't know why she marked that out. It obviously it's a lot going on with this case, y'all. And so just to recap some of that stuff, like all of that stuff was going on with the Ella Goodie case. This guy, Brandon Francisco, absolutely was the one that she gave a ride to, and he ain't talking. And he might not ever talk. You know what I'm saying? He might not ever talk. Because, I mean, it just sounds like he's not gonna ever tell. Because, for what? So it says that in his mind, I would think. So this says the man she allegedly was driving, Brandon Francisco, was arrested in Missouri as well on an outstanding warrant in another case. He was extradited back where he pleaded guilty to attempted second-degree unaliving in connection with a shooting. He was sentenced to 30 years in prison for that charge. And every other charge that he had was dismissed. So I don't even know what happened with the 17. I mean, so they allowed it. What did he do? I'm assuming he did time for the 2007 one. And so, and y'all, honestly, I don't think it's crazy to me that you can't put that in court. Like, he actually tried to do this again and they didn't allow it in court, and it actually was a mistrial because it was in court, I guess. And so that's crazy how protected the criminal can be. So they didn't want the jurors to decide off of the fact that he already did this before. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to assume he got some time because that was all the way in 2007. And then we talking about 2018 and 2022. So it's just so sad that this dude is just out here doing whatever he wants. So when the case was turned over to these some crazy name, Calcasieu Parish District Attorney, the only person of interest was Brandon, and it was still considered a homicide. The state police spokesman said, "We reached out to the DA for more information. Goodie was 32 when she disappeared. She has not been seen since March 9th of 2022. Her children were 13 and 14 years old when she vanished after telling them she was driving someone to Houston. At that time, she was a ride-share driver. Her vehicle was spotted in North Texas and eventually located in Missouri." So they spotted it because of the license plate reader, but they didn't physically find her car until like April 1st. And that's that. Like, I mean, that's really sad. So I'm going to play one last video concerning Ella Goodie, and then we're going to go on to Allahnia Lenoir. Shout out to Meadowbrook Montreal. Welcome in. Thanks for being here. So this is, right here.
Well, it's been 2 years since Ella Goodie's disappearance, and her family tells me there are more questions than answers. I imagine you saying you're North Lafayette Parish reporter with why they're pleading for help. A heartfelt plea for answers in the case of Ella Goodie.
Just imagine if it was your family. How can you continue to want to live or to even go on but not having to know anything or to look at her children every time and you have no answers for them?
2 years since Ella vanished without a trace, Ella's cousin, Jessica Goodie, continues to ask the public's help in getting answers.
Just call. That's all we're asking. We're not trying to get anybody in trouble. We want her home, or we want answers so we can get her home.
For Ella's growing kids, her disappearance is especially hard.
I don't like that she's not with her children, because she would do anything for her children. She was working to make sure to provide for her children.
Jessica describes her cousin as a hardworking single mom who had big dreams for herself and plans to give her children a better life. Though her case has been classified a homicide, Jessica is hoping for a better outcome.
Right now, we're going to keep hope alive and say she's either going to come back to us one way or another.
On Facebook, a group started by Jessica called Help Find Ella is close to 7,000 followers. The page is a source of information for her family and the community to share what they may know about Ella's case. And the family's asking anyone with information on Ella Goodie's disappearance to contact the Calcasieu DA's office and help them get the answers in Ella's case.
Welcome in, LP. Thank you for being here. And Mouthpiece said it's always the goofies with the two first names. Brandon Francisco. Man, listen. This dude is no vacation, no walk in the park. He should have been locked up from the... You sit up here and jab somebody 23 times at the age of 21, and she's 17 years old with a 2-year-old baby laying in the bed with her. Man, they had to know he was going to do this again. He is heartless. He don't care. And he's above the law at this point. And I mean, I hope he will tell these people where she is, but he probably will never. He probably will never.
Please subscribe and press that notification bell and thumbs up.
Okay, so I did a live, few days ago about Allahnia Lenoir, but I hadn't talked about her in a long time. And so what changed is that the third person was finally arrested. This guy been on the run for 2 dang on years, and he got real comfortable because he forgot that he was a wanted fugitive and in Atlanta, Georgia, for the disappearance of Allahnia Lenoir from some Peachtree apartments in Atlanta. So this dude, he was actually on some jet skis when the police tried to pull him over because he was violating some traffic rules of the water. And of course, by the time they caught up with him, he didn't want to give his name, but you see how they whisking him off like the criminal that he is. You need to go on in there with Bubba and them. They've been waiting on you, buddy. They've been waiting. So he is finally there. We are so happy to hear this. But the sad part is Allahnia's body still has not been found. And the other piece that we want to talk about is the female who actually was with Allahnia that day. So back in 2022, I covered this stuff talking about some of the information that her so-called friend had posted on her Instagram page, because a lot of people was on her helmet because she was talking real greasy, and it's really sad because she was her friend, but she got so disrespectful to her mother, even teased her about Allahnia being missing, called her a dumb bee. And I played all of that in my last video if you want to check that out. But I don't have that clip still here. But here's what we know about Allahnia.
We just want answers.
It's been nearly 2 years.
Renewing the call for information in the case of Allahnia Lenoir.
They spoke to reporters today about the recent arrest of a third suspect charged with murder. 11 Alive has been following this story since...
It's been nearly 2 years to the date. Allahnia Lenoir has been missing since July 31st of 2022, and Stephen Oboite is one of the suspects who was last seen in the Peachtree Apartments with her. Allahnia's body still has not been found, but I am so happy. Stephen Oboite is the third suspect who's been arrested for the disappearance of Allahnia. And of course, he was breaking rules on a jet ski, speeding, suspected DUI, running from the cops. They hawked him down and they caught him and got him where he needs to be. It's been nearly 2 years.
Renewing the call for information in the case of Allahnia Lenoir.
They spoke to reporters today about the recent arrest of a third suspect charged with murder. 11 Alive has been following this story since 2022 when the 24-year-old was reported missing from an apartment complex in Atlanta. The location of Lenoir's body has still remained a mystery. 11 Alive's Teresa Bowles live for us tonight after hearing from those investigators. And Teresa, what is Alania's mother saying tonight?
Well, Jennifer, Jeanette Jackson says she's been counting down the days, 676 days since she last heard from her daughter. To the men behind this, she says, time's up. She went to hang out with friends one day and was never seen again. Suspected dead, but never found.
From day one, our objective has been to locate and return Allahnia, and that is more true today than ever before.
2 years and 3 arrests later, Allahnia Lenoir's complicated disappearance case isn't over. First, Atlanta police took Deontay Reynolds into custody and charged with murder. And Nicholas Hendrickson was arrested for lying to police and tampering with evidence. What police believe is the final arrest, Stephen Obate, was caught Saturday out speeding on a jet ski on Lake Allatoona. Major Peter Malecki says Obate tried to get away on the jet ski and then on shore started running, but the Georgia Department of Natural Resources put him in handcuffs.
They followed up on every single lead, but I am grateful that he's off the street, whether it was our organization that made the arrest or any organization throughout this country. The bottom line is he is in custody.
Jackson says she's grateful to DNR, but still isn't seeing the justice.
Justice speaks of equality. You do something, you pay. I'm not really sure that these people could pay the debt of my daughter not being with us.
She says she knew Obate was in Georgia all along. She was just waiting on someone to find him. Now she wants the suspects to fess up so the family can get the closure they've been fighting for since Alani disappeared.
Just giving my daughter back. We're never gonna stop fighting.
Atlanta police and Alani's mother are begging anyone who knows anything about this case to come forward so the family can finally lay her to rest.
Also says they have hired another private investigator to continue their own personal research on the case.
Renewing the call for information in the case of Allahnia.
Okay, so the family is still not giving up. They getting another detective or private eye to help try to find her. They want to find her to lay her to rest. I mean, and she's possibly in another state because they have record of the second guy that they arrested, Nicholas. He actually had went to Alabama that same night, and he's the one that helped hide the body. And so, yeah. There's no telling where she could be at, man. But they suspect that she is unalive because of the evidence that they found that tells them that. And so now the reason for this live stream is to go over what her so-called friend who actually was with her that day. I'm going to go over some of the things that she posted that I had screenshot back in 2022 from her IG account. And so, but during the report that the last video that I did, I talked about the reports. We played the press conference, and there was also somebody in the audience. I played a repeat of it back in the day, and a person and the news people asked them, so what about the third person that was with her, the person that was with her in the apartment? Is that person going to be charged? And they said no at the time. I mean, anything could happen, but nothing. They didn't bring her up on no kind of charges. But one thing that I said, if she could have been morally charged, she definitely would still be locked up because this person actually is connected to their family because she has a baby by somebody in Alania's family. And so the family, they loved each other and stuff, allegedly. And this chick left her there with the men. And then because she got, allegedly, everything is alleged. She got into it with the mother because she was the last person with her. People was questioning her. I guess she caught an attitude because of that. And then, of course, with all of this stuff going on, her and the mother, they fall out. And she just said some real crazy stuff to this mother. You know, going back and forth. Now, I remember, too, that her baby was actually, people were asking her, so are you going to go search for her? You going to go help find her and all this stuff? And she was like, nah, because basically she was told not to. I mean, I don't know if she said that, but I know that allegedly Jeanette said which is Allahnia's mother, that it wouldn't be a good idea for her to show up there. You know what I'm saying? I mean, even if it's never a good idea if you the last person with somebody and they come up missing and you talking crazy. Yeah, you shouldn't go, because it's definitely going to be a problem. So in the beginning, there was a GoFundMe for her. I don't know what it ended up with, but but these are some screenshots that I have. But one of the things that I wanted to talk about is the things that she said in the beginning. And so let me see. I will have to. Okay, so let me go to that. And so this is her. And when I say there's a lot of stuff that I didn't get, but we just gonna go through the stuff that I did. Because with that being said, she said a lot. Is my point. But what we have here, and then you see that was her picture on Instagram. It was a stick figure holding up their middle finger. So she didn't give no F's. She had no F's to give. She was here for checking. So anyway, she said, I didn't think that I would have to address the internet, but let's discuss July 30th. Now, as I'm reading this, y'all, and I'm going to turn this down just a little bit, but as I'm reading this, picture this being your friend. You're missing. Maybe you don't want to think of that, but this is how she's talking. Like, I just feel like people deserve a pass when they are grieving and stuff like that. I mean, and then you should be able to understand, if you're a real friend. Okay, so let's go. She said, I didn't think that I will have to address the internet, but let's discuss July 30th. Now, remember that the official missing date is 31st for Allahnia Lenoir. Contrary to the internet belief, I have not been hiding, nor am I on a run. I have absolutely nothing to hide or run from. This entire case was started and has all of the information it does because of me. Let's first begin with the fact that those men were indeed not random men to Allahnia. She had been going there alone for months, and they had always Ubered her home, she told me. And Allahnia had asked me to take her there. She wanted to hang out with them. This is what she's saying. She wanted to hang out with them. That was my first time meeting these men. And many asked why I was comfortable leaving her there. Well, I didn't leave her. Allahnia was offered a ride from me about 3 times, and she declined. She said she was going to leave at 3 to go home and watch King, and that Steven and Deontay was going to get her a Uber. King is her little brother. Okay, and I trusted that considering they always gotten her home that way, and she knew the men and was going there before by herself. This is what she said. I didn't once think something negative was going to come out of that night. Had I felt like something was going to happen if I left her by herself, then I would have drug her out by her hair, whether she wanted to leave or not. And if these were random men to her, I would have not left her alone. And many asked what prompted me to leave. Well, to be utterly blunt, I was sitting alone in the living room, no TV on or music, and all I heard was sex sounds. And I don't know and I don't know about y'all, but me personally, I don't want to hear that. So when I had realized the party was over, I was ready to go. I just wonder, what party was it ever? I really do wonder that. The party was over. So what did they do when they first got there? Because she didn't tell us none of that stuff. She just went straight to sex sounds and being out by herself. So if it was a party, where was the other party goers at? Anyway, so when I realized the party was over, I was ready to go. When one of the friends said they were able, when one of my friends said they were able to get me, I had sent Allahnia a text. Okay, see, now this did not make sense to me then, and of course it's not going to make sense to me now, because if what she said in the beginning about having her car and driving her over there and all of that, then why would she need a friend to pick her up, y'all? That just don't make sense to me. I don't get it unless, look, it don't make sense. It's inconsistent. It's inconsistent. If you're driving, why do you need a friend to pick you up? So I'm going to assume that she had to text Allahnia because she was still in the room with this dude. But why did a friend, and where was this friend at? Was the friend also there? So let me just finish, because I'm assuming she been questioned by the police. But they need to question her about these messages. But anyway, the party was over when one of my friends said, so I'm assuming the friend was there, because she didn't say when they text or anything. So when one of my friends said they were able to get me, no, that means you're not going to be standing next to a person and say, hey, I'm able to get you. No, that's a phone call or something. But she left that out. Anyway, let me keep going. That part alone, though, y'all tell me what you think. But yeah, so first of all, the problem that I'm having is the fact that she told us that she was driving and she took her over there. So if this friend was not there at the house where they were at, like say for instance, she left and the friend was there at the house with her, then that would make sense that she would leave with a friend if they was going to go somewhere else to have more fun. But other than that, it don't make sense. If you're there and you drove there, you're just going to leave in your car. You're not going to call somebody to come and pick you up. And so that's crazy. But if she did leave her car, which she says this, right? Later on, she mentions that she came back to get her car. So if she left her car, I'm like, why didn't she leave the keys so Allahnia could have just drove her car and not needed them to Uber her nowhere? Her friend's car was outside. So, man, listen, that's the biggest thing about this that I have a problem with. And I'm sure her family got a problem with it too. And if she was really the person, the person whose page I screenshot this from, which it appeared to be, this don't make sense. But I'm trying to go on from this, but it just don't make sense. It don't. Let me see. Do this make sense to y'all? I mean, am I the only one hearing this, that this woman said she drove her there and then called her friend? Anyway, I know y'all heard it, but let me finish this. So she said, hold on, let me go back. I got to find my spot. Y'all know I always lose my spot. Wait a minute, oh shoot, I done moved the whole thing. I was never gonna find my spot on that because I moved the whole page. Okay, so she said that when I realized the party was over, I was ready to go. When one of my friends said they were able to get me, I had sent Allahnia a text because she was in the room with Deontay and had began asking if she wanted to leave with me. She was in the room with Deontay and had began asking if she wanted to leave with me. When they were done, they came out and we then began planning how they were going to get her home since she wasn't ready to leave with me. And that's the other part that didn't make sense. If she was out of the room and they was done and it was already 12 something, why would she stay to 3? What was they gonna be doing from the time she left at 12 something to 3? Make that make sense. When you're done, it's time to go. If you're not planning on spending the night there, why wouldn't she have left? I mean, and then I do believe they said it was evidence of something happening in that room. So was Tori there when it happened? That was how I was thinking, and I'm still trying to figure that out. It just don't make sense. It sounds suspicious as heck. This is what she said. This don't make sense. Are they gonna say, "Oh, well, we can't use this in court"? That her story is inconsistent as hell. So this explains why her mother would be upset and all that stuff, and why. Anyway, she said that, and then they can't wait. She said ready. She wasn't ready to leave with me, and then, no, wait a minute, hold on. Okay, so they were going to get her home since she wasn't ready to leave with me. And then we're at the next day, y'all. The next day, I came back to get my car. Deontay wasn't even home. So she's putting herself back there the very next day. And I don't have all the text messages and stuff, but there were text messages between her and these guys and all of that stuff. Like, she was she said that was her first time meeting him. She sure did know a lot of information to be able to be doing all this texting and stuff, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. Let me see that. So I don't think I put everything that I'm reading in here, but I'm going to read this. So she wasn't ready to leave with me. And then the next day I came back to get my car. Deontay wasn't even home. But that night I had been texting and calling Allahnia to see if she had made it home. And I didn't get a response. So one of the things, I'm assuming her friend did come and pick her up. And she did leave. And so at what point did she start texting Allahnia? Anyway, she said, I came back. Deontay wasn't at home. But that night I had been texting and calling Allahnia to see if she had made it home. And I didn't get a response. At the time, I didn't think much of it. Because there's been numerous times we've gone out. And I tell her to let me know when she gets home. And she doesn't. She gets home and goes to sleep, but will always hit me up the next day to tell me she's okay, but that text never came. I kept calling, and her phone had ended up turning off. I was hoping that she was just drunk, asleep at home, and her phone died while she was asleep, but I kept calling and sent some texts. And they just stopped going through. Her phone never turned back on. My texts to her now turn green. Okay, so I've heard of that. Text messages green and all that, but I'm not an iPhone user. But so text messages, when they're green, that means that they are unread, I guess. Or didn't go through. Her phone never turned back on. My texts to her now turned green. She had asked each of the men what time she left, and each of them gave her a different story and couldn't give me a set time that she left. They were also saying things like maybe she just needed some time to herself. They sound like cops. You know what I'm saying? Oh, maybe they just needed to be alone. Maybe they'll turn up. Yeah, dead usually. People be knowing they folks. But anyway, so she's talking to these guys and getting this information from them. And they already inconsistent. They didn't even get that part straight. And so maybe she needed some time to herself, which is absolutely utter bullshit, because in no world would Allahnia just dip off on everybody. I started contacting Alania's close friends to see if anybody had heard from her, and they didn't. I reached out to Jeanette. Now, Jeanette is her mother, to see if Allahnia had come home, and she said she wasn't home. So I can't say for sure, but when I came back, she wasn't home. Okay, so this is her mother saying that she wasn't home. Wait, Allahnia had come home, and she said she wasn't home. So I wasn't for sure, but when I came back, she wasn't home. We then reached out to her boyfriend. She had a boyfriend also. So we reached out to her boyfriend to see if he had heard from her, and he hadn't heard from her since lunch the day before. Wow. And I thought that was odd. Like, she got a distant relationship kind of, or had one at that time. And if what Tori was saying she was doing, then obviously, I mean, I don't know what type of relationship they had. There is rumors that she was doing some extracurricular activities for money. I don't know how true that is, or if that'll ever come out. Some other things that was going on at that time that I recall, because I put up some old screenshots that I had. And back then, they also said 2 weeks prior to this happening, it was said that she was RAPE by somebody, and they said she was with a trans person at the time. Yeah, I be getting confused on, but it was a man turned to a woman, so I be getting confused on how the verbiage of it all. But it was a trans woman. Then it would be a trans woman, and yeah, she was. It was some talk about that online, and so it sounded like I remember somebody saying, "Well, maybe this has something to do with that," and so I don't know if that happened or if it had anything to do with it or not. I don't know. But it was a lot of stuff going on with Allahnia, you know, and if she did have that type of lifestyle, then why was Tori around her if she wasn't doing the same thing? You know what I'm saying? Like, usually you know what your friends is up to if they doing stuff like that, I would assume, because I mean, I be seeing people out in the open talking about it, and it don't seem like they ashamed of it. So I don't think Allahnia would have been ashamed to tell the truth about her lifestyle. But that's what I'm saying. A lot of things the family, the mother herself hasn't put out there. They're keeping everything close. You know, a lot of times things get leaked, but in this case, a lot of information did not leak. But I do remember it being said that they, one of them guys allegedly ran across the street to a laundromat with some clothes and all of this kind of stuff. And allegedly she might have been seen in the car looking drugged and all of this kind of stuff. So Mouthpiece says, yeah, that makes it awkward, because why didn't she call her first? But besides that, why didn't you check on her face to face when you was leaving with the other friend? Now, she claimed they came out the room prior to her leaving, so she would have seen her face. And that's the thing that don't make sense, because like I said, if Tori was still there when they got done and came out, I don't even know what the reason would be for Allahnia to stay. Now, let's say she was a worker and she done. What you sticking around for? You know what I mean? If she got a boyfriend and all of this stuff, it just, I don't know, man. It's a lot going on. But I still don't understand why this Tory ain't in no type of trouble with all of the stuff that has come out. So okay, so she's back at her car. She said Deontay wasn't at home, so she definitely left her car there. But that night, I had been texting and calling Allahnia. Okay, so let's get back to where I was at. At the time, I didn't think much of it. Okay. Yeah, needing time to herself. No. Okay. So she already talked to Jeanette. Okay, so we then reached out to her boyfriend to see if he had heard from her, and he hadn't heard from her since the day before at lunchtime. Wow. So at this moment, we knew something was wrong. Well, heck, if he ain't talked to her the day before since lunchtime, that was a whole day in itself without talking to her when she was okay. So then it sounded like they had a kind of distant relationship, because it seemed like he would have been trying to call her, but I don't know if he was or not. But at this moment, we knew something was wrong. Alania's close friends and I began calling all the hospitals and jails to see if she happened to be in one of those, and sadly she wasn't. The next day, once it hit 24 hours, I went to the APD to file a missing persons case, and I thought that was weird because Jeanette could have went. I don't think Jeanette told her to go file a missing person report. But anyway, the next day she said after it hit 24 hours, I went to APD to file a missing persons case, but I was sent away and was told a family member has to open it. We then waited for Jeanette. Okay. That's crazy though. That's really crazy that she tried to do that herself. Just a little bit different. But hold on, y'all, because I'm looking at some other stuff now. But dang, they kind of out of order. Well, they are out of order. Okay, so they waiting for Jeanette. Let me look to see if I could find the order right quick. Let me look at all of these. I gotta go back here. Give me a second, y'all. We're going to see if we can get this together. Because I'm going to read it all, even if it don't make sense. But I'm going to try to make it make sense before just going off reading any and everything. Dang, why they ain't letting me move it like that? Okay, so a member has to open it up. We then waited for Jeanette to get off work and open the case. When the case was first started, I went to the apartment with Alania's uncle and stood there for hours waiting on Deontay to come out, and he never did. Now, I do know that one of a content creator I know was in contact with the uncle, and so I know her uncle did exist, and he actually was talking to some people, at least one person I knew on YouTube. And this uncle is Jeanette's brother, Alania's uncle. So when the case was first started, I went to the apartments with Alania's uncle and stood there for hours waiting on Deontay to come out, and he never did. I spent 2 days waiting at this complex for him to come out before I was told to leave by APD. And if I came back to the complex, was going to have she was gonna go to jail, or they was gonna press trespassing charges on her, even though they knew exactly why I was there. However, in their defense, I was being a little crazy. I had already tried kicking down his door and threw numerous objects at his bedroom window, hoping I'd hit it. So she was saying all of this. She was doing all of these crazy acts or whatever. And so that's basically how she got herself kicked off of the property. But to me, y'all, a person that cares this much, like she's showing us that she cares about Allahnia, although she was in a rush that night to leave her, but she cares, right? How does she go from this to the person calling her mother out her names, calling Allahnia, calling her stupid? Oh, isn't she the one missing and I'm not, you stupid bitch? I bet that one hurt. Now, how do you go to that from this? That's the part that don't make sense. But maybe she's that grimy and disgusting and say any and everything out of her mouth because they ain't got her locked up. And you would think that by this time, these guys would have definitely said that she was a part of it if she was. You know what I'm saying? So that's crazy though, because I cannot see ever allowing something like this to come out of my mouth and my friend is missing and I was the last person seen with her or with her. Like, I mean, you know, I'm the one that took her over there and you talking greasy and crazy. Shout out to RX Nails. Welcome in. Thank you for coming in. She definitely wasn't really her friend. And I mean, she was more like the girlfriend of a relative. You know what I'm saying? Because she had a baby by somebody in her family. But she sure was portraying to be her dang friend. She probably was jealous of her. There's no telling why. You know, it was something hidden, you know? It was definitely something hidden. And then, I mean, she's telling us all this information. She was in there having sex. And she said this stuff without even knowing if she was really all the way missing or not. Not caring if the boyfriend know, but of course, I mean, I wouldn't be keeping no secrets at that point either, but she told us all that. But anyway, when the case was first, okay, I spent 2 days and she said she had already tried to kick in the door. They told her that they would press charges on her. So, however, in their defense, I was a little crazy. I had tried kicking down his door and numerous objects, hoping to hit it while we were there. I called APD to come and do a wellness check to see if she was still in the apartment. We waited there for 2 hours, 2.5 hours, for them to do a wellness check. And when they arrived, all they did was knock on the door. Said they had no problem, no probable cause to just enter. That's so stupid. I mean, it's really pointless to call the police for a wellness check. Now, the last case I reported was, what's her name? I cannot think. God dang it. Mooney. What was her first name? Mooney. Melissa Mooney. When her family called for a wellness check, they just gonna come and knock. 2 days later, the next day they called for another wellness check. It's like, and her body actually was in the house, in the refrigerator, hog tied. Yeah, like that. When people call for a wellness check, they really need to get into those apartments. And so the way that Melissa Mooney's family was able to get in, I mean, the next time they actually just called the office for them to do the wellness check. And then they called the police and the police was able to get in. And that's just dumb. Because after being a cop for so long, you know things will happen. As a matter of fact, they need to have it in training. Somebody do a wellness check. Y'all need to go in the house. God, people don't do wellness checks for nothing, usually. But anyway, that's crazy, man. Just getting them to act when the stuff happened, getting them to move fast is one of the biggest issues I see. This girl sounds like she is setting up the scene to make it like she cared, or she was making it this scene for an alibi, and she was involved some kind of way. This sounds wild, don't it? And so even though this was 2 years ago, she ain't been arrested. They only arrested those 3 guys. And in one of the first press conferences, they said, no, she wasn't a person of interest. But they was open, of course, if some things come up. But no, this 2 years later, she still ain't been arrested for nothing. So I'm like, if morally, she would be in prison because to say some stuff like that. But yeah, all of this stuff, none of it really, because I was like, okay, so if she didn't know these guys prior to that night, how did she find them on social media? What did she? Because think about it. Like, if your friend call you, now she's saying that Allahnia asked her to take her over there. Because what I remember is that Allahnia didn't have driver's license. She didn't drive. She didn't have a credit card. She didn't even have a way to call an Uber for herself. She didn't drive or nothing, allegedly, is what this girl was saying. And that alone don't make sense to me either, being her age, and unless she was in some legal issues, reason why she couldn't handle her business. But I don't know. With the family being quiet, I don't know nothing about Allahnia, but what this girl has put out, really. And I'm sure it's probably been some friends speaking too that I didn't see. But anyway, let me finish this. Let me finish where I was at. And hold on. So yeah, the waiting the 2.5 hours for the wellness check, and then they just come. You wait 2.5 hours, they come and just knock on the door that you've been kicking down that ain't nobody about to open. So afterwards, her uncle and I had walked to the complex, sharing Allahnia's story in hope someone had seen her. While doing that, we met an incredibly sweet older lady who took it upon herself to go and bang on Deontay's door until he opened it. So Deontay arrived between the police knocking on his door and them walking around telling her story, I'm guessing. He wasn't I don't know. But he opened the door for this lady. So, and when she went in there, while doing that, we met an incredibly sweet older woman who took it upon herself to go and bang on Deontay's door until he opened it. On August 3rd, he finally opened his door to the lady and allowed the lady to enter. She then FaceTimed me and walked me through the apartment, and Allahnia was not there. However, Deontay's apartment looked as if he was in the process of clearing it out. All clothes from his closets were removed, food gone from the pantries. His table and countertops were completely wiped down. And the lady who entered sat there with him for a while talking to him and asking questions about Allahnia. And in the span of that 15 minutes, recording his story changed about 5 different times. So they actually got all of this stuff on him. So his stories changed about 5 different times. He started saying something, and let me see if I could find that part. This is a mess. But no, we getting it. I remember all of the stuff being said. This is again, it's a recap. And I'm trying to understand why she ain't had to answer to nothing. But I'ma just take it as she ain't do it. She just a nasty, mean, disgusting person. So his story changed about 5 times. He first started saying he thought she left with me. And that's dumb. So when he said that, they should have definitely knew then, if he said that it definitely was not a good outcome for him to be trying to act like she left with her that day. Stop it. And so then, now this part is going to tell us something. So then it switched to she left at 4. Then it switched to she had left in the morning time. Then he said he thought one of her pimps picked her up. And she said, and Allahnia doesn't even have a PIMP. And then he said she ordered herself an Uber. Wow. All that. Now, this is where I get the information from. So that isn't even possible for Allahnia. She doesn't have an ID or a debit card. So she can't even create an Uber account, to let alone order one for herself. She relies on her friends and her mom to order her Ubers. I had asked him why they didn't order her an Uber like they said they were supposed to. And they tried to tell me she said she didn't need one. Well, Lonnie has no car. And yet again, when I was leaving, we were all in agreement she was getting an Uber home. So I'm not sure how we went from that plan to her suddenly needing an Uber. When I questioned Steven, he didn't have much to say. He tells me he left at 4 a.m. and he came back at 8. And I remember saying, people tell half truths when they lying. I believe that he left at 4 and came back at 8. And that long enough to take her body to wherever they took her to. That's what I believe. And it happened at 4 a.m. It happened around them times. They be telling truths with lies. And so she apparently wasn't there. That's crazy. Now, what was he doing for those 4 hours? I have no idea. I asked multiple times and he dodged the question each time. I wish I had more information on this case, but the sad truth is that I don't. So even though the internet has turned into, even though the internet has turned this into an internet drama, I am utterly thankful I had went with her that night, because if I wasn't, we wouldn't have no trace of Allahnia. So I'm grateful for the information we do have, and hopeful we soon get answers. Hold on, y'all. And then there's some messages in the comments that that I also have. And somebody said they are probably ashamed to throw you under the bus like that, but at least you did this for you. And she said she should be, because she already knew this shit and decided to play the world like I've been MIA. So I'm assuming she's talking about Alania's mother at this point. They are probably ashamed to throw you under the bus like that, but at least you did this for you. She should be, because she already knew this shit and decided to play the world like I've been MIA. And then somebody else said, baby, this was the best thing you could have done to clear your name, because prior to this, general public didn't know nothing about consensual sex acts with her and the man, her being over there by herself with them many times, her begging to stay after you offered many times to leave together, you going above and beyond to look for her, etc., etc. The silence had you looking big crazy. So I guess in the beginning, she wasn't saying nothing or whatever. And when she did, the stuff that came out of her mouth was not okay at all. And so, I mean, that's the information that was out at the time. And I do remember reporting on that already. And then here's some other messages that I had too. Somebody has said, since I'm lying, whoever told you that a guy told me that? Since I'm lying, whoever told you that a guy told me that? So is there something you're not telling Allahnia's family? I have messages from people that know you were with her a week prior to her going missing, Ryan. So why would her friends be saying she was with you when she was RAP'd? So it says, but the RAPE thing was literally about a week or two before she went missing. And then I found out she was with a trans guy when it happened. Now, these are messages that I found. And then here's some messages here. And at the top, it says, email allegedly sent to detectives from Tory within the first few days or weeks of Allahnia's report. And let me just read this. I don't think I had read this before, but it says it does have her name at the top, and it's addressed to Lisa F. Bender, and it's titled Allahnia. So, hey there, I know I'm not allowed to know anything, but I feel as if I need to be given some sort of insight. The way y'all keep showing me this Jeep Cherokee makes me believe y'all saw her leave in it. Oh. The way y'all keep showing me this Jeep Cherokee makes me believe y'all. Oh, okay, so definitely she was in for questioning, according to that. But let me just read it. The way y'all keep showing me this Jeep Cherokee makes me believe y'all saw her leave in it. Or if she didn't leave in it, has to be involved in some way, shape, or form, because I don't understand why I will continue to be questioned about it. And then an officer called me this morning asking if Devin was making any phone calls while I was there. Who was Devin? So this makes me believe y'all think she's trafficked or involved or something horrible. And I truly feel like I need to know so I can protect myself if she got involved with bad people, because nobody really knows where I live and I have little to no traffic in and out of my house. So for someone to come to my door banging on it from 10:45 from 10 to 11:45 freaks me the hell out. I don't believe this is a coincidence, but Lonnie knows exactly how to get to my house. Okay. And it's cut off after that. So, and I definitely don't have the rest of that. Dang, I didn't know that. So I had that, but I never read it because I got that out of my own stuff. I even got a picture of the so-called trans woman that she was with. But I don't want to put that out there. So what y'all think of this case? Let me know what y'all thinking. I'm hoping that the trial will be televised and stuff, but I'm not really thinking it will be. I mean, it's like when these cases take super long to be talked about, people lose interest, people move on. They don't people so much stuff is happening in the world. But for that reason though, that's why I always come back to them, because I be wanting to know. Like if I once covered a case and it's not solved, y'all can believe that I'm gonna come back and say something else about the case after I look and see if it's any updates and stuff like that. So I just wanted to put that out there so people can remember what was said. This stuff was put out early on. One thing I haven't done is looked at other content creators talking about it. So I'm going to do that and see if there's anything out there that I just didn't know about. But yeah, so we came because it was updates on this case. Allahnia, the one of the main people that was involved in this, Stephen, is now caught. He is now it happened, I do believe the date that they found him was June 1st of this year. Let me see. Let's see. And they actually was acting very guilty in the very beginning. You know, it didn't take no time for them to be inconsistent with stories and all of that. So that was the one that I was just reading about the people, you know, the comment section. Make sure I played everything. Let me collapse this. That's the only thing I don't like about Vertical Lives. Like you can't play everything without it, without collapsing stuff. But it was quite funny to see him getting whisked away like he was, you know, looking stupid. All of the charges that he got. Let me go and read something. I don't think I read nothing about this dude. Not live anyway. Let's see what they are saying. Ain't no telling where he been at all this time. So man wanted in 2022 disappearance. He's finally arrested. Let's see if it's any wait, no, I ain't going. Let's do this. Nope, even the news haven't said nothing in 3 weeks. I see. Well, it's one article, third man. It's one article that is from 2 weeks ago. But one of the things, Alania's mother, she never gave up. She never was quiet. She was on the news and stuff, or able to get on the news and be heard. And so it kept her story in the news, and people that cared like me or other people that's already covered the case are more likely to continue to cover the case. And so let's see, this is from 2 weeks. We probably already know everything, but I don't know if I read his charges. So he's now charged for his role in Alania's disappearance, including murder, possession of a controlled substance, concealed death of another, and tampering with evidence, which is a felony. And what it says earlier this month, he was caught riding a jet ski at Lake Allatoona in Bartow County, Georgia. Georgia's Department of Natural Resources attempted to pull him over for a no-wake violation. I don't know what that means, no-wake violation. But he took off, ditched the jet ski, and ran into the woods. It looked like he was still on the jet ski when they grabbed him and whisked him off into the woods. So, I mean, that's what it looked like to me. They had to, he getting whisked from the water area. So it don't appear he was in the woods before the police grabbed him and shuffled his ass into the woods. That's what I'm saying. I'm just saying. And so the other guy's name was Nicholas Hendrickson. But according to the information that we just read from Tori, it was Deontay that she was actually in the room with, and his name, allegedly, everything is alleged. His name is Deontay Reynolds. And police believe it was Hendrickson that helped Oboite and Reynolds dispose of the body. So I believe they left at 4 and did that. And I remember her saying she left at 12 or 12:30. That's crazy. Wow. Anyway, y'all, that is it. Let me see if anybody is saying anything. That is my report for Allahnia Lenoir, and I will definitely continue to bring updates as they come out. And as you see, a lot of people are not talking about the story. People have forgotten about the story, but she still is not found. So I'm going to get out of here, y'all, because as a matter of fact, I got a lot of stuff I need to do. I hope y'all have a great rest of the day. Enjoy your work day, whatever you may be doing right now. But again, if you're on a replay and you made it this far, please make sure you subscribe to the channel, set your notification bell so you know every time I go live.
Please subscribe and press that notification bell and thumbs up. Please subscribe and press that notification. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing. For sharing. For sharing. For sharing me. Thank you for so much.
Lock his ass up. Lock his ass up. You're going to jail. You're going to jail. Lock his ass up. Lock his ass up. You're going to jail. You're going to jail.
Okay, they right where they need to be. So anyway, y'all, we're going to get up out of here. Peace and love. Y'all have a great rest of the day.